Bizarre Brain Comics. The Dark Librarian. Oh, hello, my comic book fiends. This is the Dark Librarian, here to tell tales of terror. And this is the terror tome we're going to indulge in tonight. This is The House of Secrets, number 122 from 1974. Good spooky stuff. Bronze Age spooky stuff from DC Comics. Okay, this is when I had a long period of time when Joe Orlando was the editor of their horror mystery titles. It started in I think it was in the late 60s. Because remember, House of Secrets, House of Mystery, they were just had stories of just some unusual stuff, often leaning towards science fiction. But Joe Orlando took over, and he kind of gave it a little bit of a lower key EC refacing, and turned more to the more spooky aspects of it. And so that's one of the reasons why they had so much good stuff from DC in their mystery stuff during the Bronze Age. And that's just unfortunate that I wasn't into it much at that time, so I didn't pick up much in that way. Well, I had very, very little cash to spend, and I focused on the titles that I really liked. But I would pick up some of this stuff just once in a while. Because remember, like Joe Orlando had been an alum of the EC comics, with the great science fiction and the great horror comics from that. So let's take a look here. This is, I think it might be a Nick Cardy cover. I'm not positive. I can't see it well enough. The it's not identified, but it looks kind of like it. Anyway, we'll take a look. And this first story is Requiem for Igor, written by Jack Olick, with art by Alfredo Alcala, and of course our editor Joe Orlando, and of course it is Abel here, who is our horror host for this title, brother of Cain from House of Mystery, and he's standing out there on the street looking up at the window, and he's talking about, this is what's going on. I won't get into that, because that is just a teaser for the rest of this story, and it is about big concert pianist by the name of Bartos, but he's just leaving after his concert, and he meets this old lady selling flowers, and she turns out to be a witch, and she says, to be the greatest pianist in the world, great as Zabak. And then we see the picture up here of Igor Zabak. And as good as Bartos is, he knows that Zabak is better than him, and their entire careers he has been jealous of Zabak. And he's rude to this old lady, and tells her to basically go away. But she offers him an opportunity to get to be as good as Zabak, and so he is playing and practicing at home, and it's not as good. But she had told him something about a specific time, and he would be able to find her, and that something would happen, and that something did happen. To whoosh, the flower that she gave him at the specific time, flooshed into flame. And so he spent a lot of time to find her. Eventually, he found her, and she said wants to make the deal. And of course, he has to. It's basically making a deal with the devil. And then he rejects her again, but no, it's still hopeless. He still can't do it. So he embraces. Did I miss a page? Yeah. So finally, he when after his performance that he finds unremarkable for him, his Zabak comes in. Igor Zabak comes in and congratulates him, and he thinks he's mocking him. So then he does indeed decide to go with the witch and pay her price. Of course, the price will be his soul to get the hands of Zabak. So she's made a deal, and meanwhile she has hired some thugs to do the specific job that is needed, because of course it means killing Zabak, but the body must never be found, or they would be suspicious, because it would be taking the hands of Zabak. Well, she doesn't explain this to these goons, but here they are. Bartos is with her as she's performing her mystic stuff, and ha ha ha, and then we hear the screams of Bartos. When it's done, it's old hag, witch, what have you done to me? He said, done? My master has given you what you asked. Then the goons come in and said, what are you talking about? And because something's not right. And so she talks to the goons who killed him. Said, said, that doesn't, you get it taken care of. It doesn't matter how you kill him, but his body must not be found. Said, oh yeah, so we burned the body. And then we see finally, because he got the hands of Zabak, the burned, desiccated, crumbling hands of Zabak. So didn't work. Then we have a shorter story here with Sam Glanzman, both writing and drawing. And here's some hunters out somewhere in the Northlands somewhere, doesn't say exactly where, and they are out hunting, and they split up to hunt. Well, the one hunter, he sees this beam of light on this snowy mountain. It's a living centaur, and he thinks, oh, if I could capture that centaur, I could make loads of money, And he sees the centaur, and the centaur motions for him, and he comes and it tells him that they are real, but they and the other magical beings from mythological beings from antiquity, they still exist, but they're in another world. And this particular beam of light is the portal. He goes in with him, and he sees this lovely terrain, all these people like right out of Greek mythology. And then they take him back. Well, he's decided he goes back, and he's going to tell his buddies, and they're going to find something. They're going to get it. And he's wait till late to find it. But then, right at the end, before he got back to his buddies, he had turned into a deer because he had evil in his heart. Notice the deer wearing his hunting jacket. Then we have grave business. This is a deal with after this mortician is approached by a woman, is the widow of a very wealthy man who has just died, and said he had all of his stuff. Got cash for everything. He had a whole bundle of cash, and he was determined he was going to take his fortune with him. He had it in a sack, and the mortician said yes. He didn't know it was money, but the sack in the coffin with the dead man, and they're going to have the funeral the next day. He says, no, It's all his fortune is in that sack, and just to keep me from inheriting it, says, and I'll split it with you if you get the sack of money. He said, no, I won't do it. But then he's rethinking. He said, oh, I could get it and keep it for myself. And here, while he's out thinking, he starts abusing an employee of his, the gravedigger, who is hard of hearing, and he chastises him because he had left a hole open, hadn't finished finished the hole. So he's going to break into the coffin and steal that sack, but the widow is right there. She appears, and she's going to stay right there until the funeral. So he can't get it. So they go and have the funeral, have the burial, all that other stuff. The old man buries the coffin, and then that night the mortician comes out and he digs up the dead guy as the sack, pulls the sack of loot out, and then but the widow shows right up with a gun. Well, he manages to distract her with throwing some dirt in her face. The gun goes off, and he grabs a shovel. And just beats her to death with the shovel and kicks her into the coffin with her dead husband. But she still had a death grip on that bag, which had the rope on the bag had a loose loop, which grabbed her around his ankle and pulled him into the coffin too. Then the door slammed shut. He couldn't get out. And then in the morning, the gravedigger shows up. Oh, he says, "Oh, there's a hole. I must have forgotten to finish that hole again." So he buries, and because he is hard of hearing, he can't hear the man yelling for help, and he buries him. So all the greedy people are buried. And then just a little short one here. There he is again. There's this little boy sneaking into a movie theater to watch a movie, and the ushers spot him. Said, "There he is again. Let's get him." And they start chasing him. He's in the screen, and he flops back, and he is in the movie. And there he and the other boys are being chased by the werewolf in the movie. They're surprised. The ushers are so surprised. And then, as they've changed and are leaving, they see that little boy in the poster for the movie that they just watched, Son of the Werewolf. And that was just a little short. So there's a lot of good spooky fun. We'll have more as we approach Halloween. Because remember, it's the spooky month of October for Halloween. So that's all I had to share with you this time. And I want to thank you for joining me. So please like, share, and subscribe. And leave your comments down below about the spooky stuff. House of Secrets. And remember, comics are art.